Mr. Chairman, my name is Drew Anthon. I have some questions after seeing the PowerPoint presentation. Am I permitted to ask these questions of Mr. Cooley?
Well, ordinarily, I wouldn't entertain the thought of cross-examining somebody who came here to the authority to make a presentation, as long as it's reasonable and blank. We're not here to find a platform between different feelings of commitment in the community, but I would certainly extend to you the courtesy as long as he's willing. I can't speak for him, as long as he's willing to respond.
No, I'm not trying to, get into a lengthy conversation. There were several things that I just didn't understand or maybe didn't put into perspective.
As long as Mr. Cooley is willing to
I'd actually prefer that he call me, and I'll be happy to spend as much time as he wishes discussing any questions he has.
Is that a problem?
Well, I think some of the questions would be to the benefit also of the authority to hear, not just in private, but that would be my preference. Obviously, I know Mr. Cooley. I could call Mr. Cooley at any time. I think that there's a value to some of the expertise which I have in the hotel business that maybe I just have some questions that I'm not sure I understand yet, so that I can formulate some of my own thoughts.
Let me simply say this. There may well be some educational value in the questions that you're going to ask for the rest of my colleagues here. I'm willing to do that, and I think they are as well, but I can't demand that Mr. Cooley follow.
And I would prefer to have that conversation with Mr. Anthony private.
He has preferred to do it, so I can't.
I understand that, and I only say to the authority that I think that position isn't an open position to everybody here, because my questions are such that I think would be of value to the authority, and not to say what was just stated about the openness and the presentations. I think it's a shame that Mr. Cooley and High would not address those issues. I understand that, and
let me encourage you to do something else.
Okay, I appreciate that.
If you have a conversation with Mr. Cooley and you feel it's of substance, we welcome you to come back to our next meeting and share it with us. You can say, I asked for this information. This was the response.
I'm
not forcing you to respond.
No, I'm not asking you to ask for his response, but what I would like to do in lieu of that is maybe pose a couple questions, not questions to the authority, but questions that I will be asking Mr. Cooley, so that you can understand maybe, and that will help you possibly. Okay?
You mean you're just going to recite the question?
I would just pose a couple questions that are thoughts that I have. Okay? But I'd like to preface that also by saying that Commissioner Thibault made a statement about reaching out and trying to help. I'd like to mention for the people who are not aware of the fact that I believe back in May, the Hotel Motel Association sent a letter to the authority offering their assistance in terms of the selection and any assistance that they could have. And to date, as of July 25th or July 24th, there has been no response to that letter. And the hotel...
I will respond publicly to you, sir, as we sit here today. I did receive that letter, as did all of the members of the authority. Now, let me share a couple facts with you about that. There was no return address. There was no telephone number. And yet, at least in one case, one of the signatories is a litigant, along with yourself, in this case. We have made it a policy not to respond to litigants since this started.
I understand that Marriott International, from what was presented, is going to lend their name to this facility, which I commend Marriott because it's a fine organization. I understand that Marriott has many different, quote, flags. They have Marriott, Courtyard, Fairfield, Spring Hill Suites, Residence Inns, and others. Is this facility to become a Marriott name, not one of the other names? It's a question I have. I don't know that. Okay. Are we going to? Well, let me just say this.
We've already answered the question in the press release. This will be operated under the resort's name. This is their full service hotel. I made that statement yesterday.
It is not a courtyard.
Okay, so that's fine.
Okay.
I'd like to understand a definition between a full-service hotel and a limited-service hotel. I'd also pose the question, does Marriott International manage hotels, as does Interstate? And if they do, which I believe they do, have they been requested to manage this hotel as a parent company, Marriott? I'm not asking for the answers because this is a selective statement. I'd like to understand also that as the design of the hotel, as it is today, as Mr. Cooley has said, built as a singular project, public money, private money, but a singular project. Will Marriott put their full-service name on this facility when the hotel, independent of the convention center, does not have meeting and convention space in the hotel? Will they put their full name if they are not given the management of the convention center? I'd like to understand that relationship. Okay? Because there are facilities out there for the information of the authority. Okay. I will, and you may want to raise those questions as well. The statement of Marriott being the #1 flag, I would only say that there are, even by a recent Consumers Report, many fun. I'm glad you feel that way. I'm glad you feel that way. But there are many names that have the quality of Marriott. And I would only raise the issue if you were to take people and run a focus group of Harrisburg and ask people what the #1 hotel in Harrisburg would be, and there is a Marriott there, and there's a Hilton there, and there's a Crown Plaza. The bulk of the people, and I would say the greatest majority, will say the Hilton. So I'm not sure, although the Marriott name is a great name, that it is the #1 flag. I appreciate your time. I would have appreciated Mr. Cooley's time to answer the questions, and I have other questions, and I will call Mr. Cooley. And if the authority would like to give me a call, although I am a litigant, I will give you very objective, first-hand questions that I think could be helpful for yourselves. And I would be more than willing to do so, because I am a citizen here. I'm a concerned individual. All right. I appreciate your time.
With a question to you, sir.
Do I have the same right to that?
You absolutely do. You absolutely do. But let me ask you a question, and if you don't choose to answer it, I understand.
I understand.
I think you've started a good process in that you are asking intelligent questions and you're sharing them with us. Can that process be enlarged upon to resolve other questions so that, in fact, we can get this lawsuit removed and have you join the overall community effort for this?
I'd be glad to sit down with you.
Great. Well, we want to do that.
I would be glad to sit down with you.
We will do that, sir. Thank you very much.
And I would also say that I believe, as I think it's been now too long, well over a year, that I would think the sooner the better. Okay? And I would be glad to sit down with you.
I will make myself available at your first opportunity.
Okay?
Thank you very much.
I thank everybody for taking the time.
Are there any other